I started seeing casting lists saying, "We want a Margaret Avery type." Well, hell, I was available. Why are you putting out, "You want a Margaret Avery type"?
Just go get Margaret Avery.
Or you could go on an interview and you find out, well, she's not this enough, or she's not that enough, and when you
So,
read that Robin Williams or someone committed suicide, or you find out that um, someone's on drugs, that's they somehow let the business get to them.
thank you everyone for tuning in to the Ultimate Creative Chat. I am Danielle, your host, as usual, but today I have someone with me who is a little different from who I've had on before, and that is Miss Margaret Avery. She is an actress. You all know her well. We know Sister, okay, from The Color Purple. And I'm elated to have her here today to talk with us about mental health and the arts and entertainment industry. She's already made some excellent points, and I just want to continue to allow her to speak on that. Um, Margaret, you spoke about how important it was to have a relationship with God if you're going to be in the entertainment industry. How important is that for you? Because you're still acting, you're still out doing things now. So I won't say how important was it, but how important is that for you to have him in your life?
Well, as I mentioned before, as God is my pillar, and I tell people, if you don't believe in God, have something that you believe in that's going to uh, keep your self-esteem and the belief in yourself. But there's other things too. It's important to keep your body together because your body is your tool, and you've got to eat healthy. And I know it's hard on the road to eat healthy. I've found that out. But we our parents, they did the best they could. So among the people of color, we've got diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, uh, and we need to know, what is it. Some of it is hereditary, these problems that we have with health. But if you know that your mother or father had diabetes, then we need to find out, okay, what creates this? What can I do not to have it? We have to take responsibility for ourselves. So to me, a healthy body is a healthy mind, a healthy spirit, and healthy body. All of that works together.
Mm.
Um,
We'll be right back. Do you own a growing business? Danielle Rosser's clients get the keys to success when it comes to meeting their bottom line. Reach your intended audience with the proper branding, messaging, and storytelling when you partner with UltimateCreativ. So, what can UltimateCreativ do for you? Click the link in the description for a consultation and let's get started. Back to the show.
Well, yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. Our bodies do need to be held up. They need to be, obviously, you have
exercise.
taken care of yourself very
And
well.
exercise, because
Yes.
if we don't use the muscles, because right now we're in a sitting society, we sit
Mhm.
to watch TV, we're sitting in the the computer, sit, 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 and they're muscles that we're not using. So you've got to exercise, because if you don't use it, they just start falling apart.
That's right. That's right. And you are
So
obviously practicing what you preach. What do you like to do for yourself as far as self-care, making sure physically that you're taking care of yourself?
I really do like meditation, because
Mm,
um, I think with age, I've calmed down a lot with my temper, but I think with meditation, it keeps you in a good space. and helps me not to react so much.
Okay.
Um, the Now that I'm older, the thing that I have to work on to do what I do, I can't just go boom, 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 and never sit down during the day and forgetting to drink water, forgetting to eat. I cannot do
Right.
that to myself anymore. Um, and I notice that when I get out of bed, when it used to be when I woke up in the morning, alarm goes off, boom, I could just hit the floor and just get going. But now it's like I wake up and it's like, okay, I got to negotiate.
Yes.
I'm gonna get up, y'all. Okay, is that all
Right.
right? And particularly if I haven't been exercising, I find that if you can move a certain way and get a Charlie horse or something, so it's really important to keep stretching those muscles. You don't have to do all this bumping and jumping up and down in the gym, but
Yeah.
taking care of yourself, take care of the body, just like you have to take care of your car, right? When the
Exactly.
oil light goes on or when it's time to tune up, you got to take care of. You got to take care of. I've been in my home 51 years. I got to take care of it. Things go wrong. So,
Yes.
but there's a lot of preventive maintenance that you continue to do.
Mm. Oh, what do or what have you been advised to do as far as keeping your mental health in check? Knowing that this entertainment industry is so hard on you mentally, even just preparing for roles. And I've heard, I'm not an actress, but I have heard, some people really have to go to a dark place to be able to pull off some of the roles that they have signed up to portray. So how are actors and actresses able to actually keep themselves together and come back to their full selves, once they have come out of a demanding role?
Hmm. Well, I know that if it's a dark place that I have to be in for a character, I just don't do those characters around. I don't like to perform. If I'm cast and I know it's going to be around Thanksgiving and Christmas, which is the only time I can really be with family, then I won't accept it because it is hard. Yeah, it is. It is hard to come back. Um, I haven't had that experience, but I know that I was advised before doing Color Purple that try to think as that character. And whatever I do, even if it's drinking a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, do it as that character would do it. Learn how to
Hmm.
walk, and this is all from stage. In developing a character, do it as that character each day. The way you
Hmm.
walk, the way you sit, the maybe the pattern of your speech. But see, that's with stage. You have time to develop like that. Or if you get a script as a film actress months in advance, you get to do that. But for television,
Hmm.
it's very difficult because uh, you get this. You don't even get the entire script so the industry doesn't give you the ability to do the kind of homework you would like to do that you would be able
Hmm.
to do on stage. You've got to like just say, okay, uh, this looks like it's like this, or they'll give you a description. And sometimes the writer doesn't even write the description, they have somebody else writing a description of the character, which is crazy.
Wow.
But you
Yes.
just have to like off the top of your head try to do something, and it's very difficult to do anything in depth. And television is fast. It's like
Yes.
you don't get that much direction unless it's a special project. The director tells you, well, on this line you're going to move here and you're going to do and end up over here. That's about it. It's only
Right.
location. It's not about the
Hmm.
character. And the reason they cast you is because maybe they've seen you do that character.
Yeah. Very well, very interesting. I know
So
it's a demanding industry to be in, and not having done it myself, and maybe that's one reason why I never went down that path. It just seemed to be so demanding and stressful. But so are other industries. So it's the
yeah, yeah.
communications industry and being a journalist, which I was for several years. It's a very high stress field, but we all choose, our path based on
Hmm.
what we are connected to, what really speaks to us and what we are really passionate about. So
Well,
I
that's
can
why
tell,
I say you have to love what you're doing because you're going to have to work
yes.
hard at it and be the best because
Hmm.
um I always say to actors, you've got to have a passion for the business, love it, know that that's the only thing that you would want to do. You would be miserable doing anything else. But you also have to be a masochist because you got to be able to have tough skin and be rejected, 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 rejected. And then suddenly you get this role and you're fabulous. Well, you were fabulous all along.
Right.
I was for 20 years before I got Color Purple, but I didn't know it because certainly I worked a lot in TV, but I went on a lot of interviews where I did not get it,
Hmm.
get the job. So I really feel that we all have to have a very close relationship first with God. I try not to make the business my entire life because it's about box office. It's a business.
Yes.
And it's sometimes it's like, okay, we've had enough of you. Next. And you
That's
better
right.
have your your self-esteem, your belief in yourself. And I think family and friends and my goodness, please have God in your life. I know that God has too many times. I believe in footsteps in the sand because there were times in the business where I couldn't even buy a job. So
Hmm.
when people say, "What happened to so and so?" I haven't seen so and so because we haven't had the right parts. Or maybe you're in a situation where you just don't want to take anything. Maybe you feel that, hey, if I take this role, I'll be embarrassed. It's so bad.
I'm sure. I'm sure there are those.
So it's not that we choose to be unemployed.
Right.
There's a lot going on that we just don't have control of until maybe even if you're a producer, you uh, I think that there are a lot of directors that don't have the power in the business to have the final cut, meaning is editing it. So the pictures isn't really what you thought it was or what you envisioned it to be because editing is very important. They Editing has saved actors because they can edit out the bad stuff,
Mm,
which you cannot do on stage. So I'm just kind of segueing into stage because stage actors, we've learned how to develop a character. We've learned, well, without the stage experience that I came to theater to film with, I don't think I would be where I am now because
mm.
we just learn, we learn our craft. And it's when you get out on stage, you can't say, oh, I forgot that line. Let's cut. I mean,
Yeah.
the
You can't
audience is
unsee
there.
that.
You know that character so well enough that regardless of what happens, let me give you an example. I was doing a play in Shreveport, Louisiana, and this actor was supposed to come out on stage at a certain line, and then I realized, damn, he's not here. So because I studied the character so, I just started making up lines. I mean, talking to the other character, da 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 da, and then I started going up the stairs, and then the actor, the Margaret Avery is saying, "Oh my God, if I go upstairs, then when he does come on, he's not. We're not going to be in the right places." So all of that's going on in my head, and at the same time, I'm talking to the other actor, making up stuff, but only because studying the character, you somehow start speaking as that character with lines that you didn't know that aren't on the page.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of when you look at a Viola Davis and you look at so many of these wonderful actors that they studied. They
Hmm.
they didn't just become who they are on a fluke.
Yeah.
These are trained actors and they're playing different roles. And you know a good actor is when they can do a part uh, that's totally different from another part. And what
Hmm.
happens with film, and I feel with myself, is that once you get pigeonholed in a certain character, um, everybody knows me as a dramatic actor. They don't know anything about my comedy. If I want to do comedy, I have to get out and do it on stage. I started out in comedy, uh, co-starring with Richard Pryor,
Hmm.
and talk about a character. He never said anything that was written on page.
Hmm. I'm
you had to
sure.
just you had to just go with it, you know.
Wow.
Because I remember the first scene that I worked with him. We're about to shoot. Michael Schultz was the director, and he says, "Wait a minute, Michael. I got an idea." And he goes up to Michael and he says, "And then I'm going to do this." And Michael starts chuckling. "And then I'm going to do that." And Michael is chuckling. And then he says, "Yeah, what I do?" He looked at me and he said, "I don't know."
Oh
So
my gosh.
I I remember just going back to my acting classes when it's fun. They call it improvisation. You don't know what the other
Mm.
person's going to say, but acting is
Right.
reacting. You never deny what they say, or the scene goes flat. So you go with it. And
Hmm.
had I not had that training, I would have fallen apart. But
Yes.
before thinking about that training, I went back to my trailer at one point and said, got on my knees and said, "God, please be with me with this. I Give me my confidence. Don't let me
Hmm.
lose my confidence. I want to think the character the entire time. Think the character, be the character, and then I know that I'll be okay." But
Mm.
when you say mental health, I'm back to God again. Um, when I was cast for Color Purple, I was when I read Alice Walker's book, I knew I was Shug, and I never disbelieved I was not that character. My thing was to make everybody else know that I'm the character. And once I was cast, Danielle, and then found out all the superpower people who had auditioned,
Hmm.
I started feeling insecure. I'm thinking, "Oh my God, you mean she went up for the role?" And oh, they must have made a mistake. And I felt
Mm.
myself talking myself out of the job after I'd been
Wow.
cast.
Right.
I got so insecure. I got on my knees and said, "God, please don't let me talk myself out of this job. Don't let me lose my belief in myself."
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I can imagine. I can
Mm,
imagine. And, you know, sometimes in the business world, we call that imposter syndrome, where we feel
mm-hmm.
that we're imposters. We're just in this role and we don't know why the person hired us to do they what they did, but we're going to show up and we're going to try, but you don't put your all into it sometimes because you feel like I'm really not supposed to be here. I'm just kind of a placeholder. But you can't think that way and be
No, you
successful.
can't. Mm-mm,
You
mm-mm.
can't. Mind games don't really work. You really have to believe that about yourself. Very well, very interesting. I know
So
it's a demanding industry to be in, and not having done it myself, and maybe that's one reason why I never went down that path. It just seemed to be so demanding and stressful. But so are other industries. So it's the
yeah, yeah.
communications industry and being a journalist, which I was for several years. It's a very high stress field, but we all choose, our path based on
Hmm.
what we are connected to, what really speaks to us and what we are really passionate about. So
Well,
I
that's
can
why
tell,
I say you have to love what you're doing because you're going to have to work
yes,
hard at it and be the best because it's very, whatever you do. And so better go home tired, but a good tired, but not
yes,
waking up, oh God, I got to go back to that again. I mean, it's
right.
something that you're tired, but you're glad to do it.
Yes, exactly. Well,
So,
thank you very much for everything that you have shared with us. Ladies, I hope you all have been listening, paying attention, and taking notes because she's told us we need to really be on top of our business as far as staying in touch with our mental health and our physical health for the sake of longevity. So, thank you
mhm.
so much, Margaret, for being
Oh,
with us.
Danielle, thank you for having me. It's been a nice, what, afternoon, or is it afternoon?
Yes.
In cold, what is it today? Cold, warm? You never know
Cold.
what Atlanta is going to give you.
Exactly. We'll start out cold and wind up warm and go back to cold again.
I call it.
That's what's going to happen.
Thank you.
That's what's going to
Bye
happen.
bye.
Thank you. You all keep it here for another Ultimate Creative Chat. Bye.
Okay. Bye. And I.
So, what can Ultimate Creative do for you? Click the link in the description for a consultation and let's get started.